Hi everyone, I'm Maddie with Anime Fire, and today I am talking to voice actor Jessica Calvello. How are you today?
Hello, I'm well. Hey, Maddie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
taking the time to talk with us today. Um,
sure. Thank you for having me.
of course. So first, I want to ask you about when did you know that you wanted to become a voice actor?
I still didn't know that I do. Um, I no, I never knew. I went to school for acting. I've performed my entire life. I started dancing and singing at the age of 4. I was in acting lessons as a child. I think I started those at 4 or 5. Singing when I was 3. So I've done all that. I all through school and then college, acting degree. Um, and I have just always loved every aspect of performing. It didn't matter what it was. So stage, film, voice. And then after I graduated from college, I was living in Houston and just in all the shows, and I had an agent, and all the auditions for all the things. And I was actually at this commercial print modeling school. Those used to exist. You would go to these acting classes, but commercial print is like so if you talk about models, right? I'm not talking about like the 7 foot leggy brunettes that walk down the runway. Commercial print modeling is people with more interesting faces, with big features and they can sell something. And so people
hmm
on billboards with beautiful, perfect teeth and selling dentine gum, that kind of a thing. But they had a whole school dedicated to this, whatever. But I did meet a fantastic, and we had acting classes, and I met a fantastic actress there named Sharon Shaughnessy, and she pulled me aside one day and she said, "Sorry, I'm not trying to make this look like an indie film. I'm just on my mobile, so it's like feel like I'm like super like
That's
indie film
okay.
Jessica. Yeah. So whatever. I'm not trying. I couldn't find my cell phone stand. I apologize. Anyway, so she pulled me aside and she was like, "Hey, you've got such a great voice, and I work for this company called ADV Films." That was like a super old name. This was back in 1995. This is a long ass time ago. Yeah, but anyway, so long story short, she got me in. She gave my name to ADV, and they called me, and I just started working. And first I was working in smaller roles, as you do. You work your way up. But honestly, it didn't take long. I mean, I had so much experience coming into ADV Films just because I took a ton of voice classes in college. I mean, I had an acting degree, so I've just been doing it my whole life. So the transition for me for performing mostly with my body and face over to microphone and voice, it really wasn't that tough of a transition for me. And I fell in love with it. I love performing, and so for me, it was just another way to do it. And I kept going with ADV Films, and then I moved to New York, and I lived there for a long time, and I worked for a lot of dubbing houses up there. It's where I got in with Central Park Media, which is no longer a dubbing house. But there was Duart. I was in Pokemon. I was in just a bunch of shows that were recorded on the East Coast at the time. So I just kept doing it, and then eventually came on back to Texas, and now working for Crunchyroll and Sentai. So honestly, I did not know that this was in store for me. It was really just, oh, something else I can perform and do, and this is using my voice. And it was so exciting and interesting to me that I just jumped right in.
hmm Yeah, I love that. I love to hear when, actors talk about their transitions from stage or television or something like that into voice acting, and it's always cool to hear that it's not super different.
No,
Yeah.
so I mean, yes and no, right? I
Mhm.
remember I remember I was recording so much when I lived in New York because when I moved there in the late 90s, the dubbing industry had exploded. Thank you, Pokemon.
Mhm.
I mean, and there were dubbing houses everywhere. And I would go from studio to studio, and then I would go to rehearsal for whatever show I'm in, and then I would hit a commercial audition for my agent. So I was all over the place all the time. And I remember there was at one point, because I was working on like two shows in tandem recording, and I was performing in a children's show, which we had day shows all the, every day. And my director at one point, we were in rehearsal, and she's like, "Why are you screaming all of your lines?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I was playing, we were doing a version of Aladdin, and I was the jinn. It was a very different kind of sorry, I notifications really need to leave me alone so I can talk to Maddie. Go away. Um, and so I was like, "What do you mean?" And I'm not screaming my lines, and she's like, "Take it down a bit." And I was like, "I'm sorry." I mean, and so there, like, sometimes it was like, I was like, I don't need to go like so hard with my
Mhm.
voice on the stage. Like, I'm
Right.
going to scare everybody. So sometimes that would take a little bit like to, but I mean, that's just me adjusting and going like, "Oh, sorry, director. I
Right.
can make that adjustment." Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's so fun. Yeah. And so now you voice a very iconic character in anime. You are Hanji in Attack on
Mm,
Titan. How does
hmm
it feel to be the voice of a character that's so cherished by so many fans?
Um, amazing. Uh, I don't know that I'll ever get over it. Like, I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever get to the place where it's like, yeah, I'm Hanji. It still feels, uh, I guess everyone kind of says like, "Oh, it's an honor," and I'm so like grateful, and that's true. And I feel like I can't say that enough in a way that it translates that that's literally what I mean.
Mhm.
Um, when I auditioned for Attack on Titan, and I have a whole audition story if we have time, but I'm sure there's questions that you'd like to ask me because I'll just keep talking. But I was honored to be able to get the audition. I was honored to get the role. It's the role that I wanted. That goes into that audition story. It's the role that I wanted. It's what I zeroed in on. And when it happened, I was like, this has actually never happened before, where I was a fan of the show. I saw the part that spoke to me. I got an audition. I auditioned, I got the role, and I'm like, this is like a dream come true that I did not expect it. I couldn't possibly expect it. I hadn't really worked for Crunchyroll. I had done one show only. I play Eclair in Fairy Tale, the Phoenix Priestess. It was the only show that I'd done. So for me to think, oh, I've got a great chance, I was like, I'm gonna be Titan fodder, and I don't care because I love this show and I'd be happy
Mhm.
to be on the floor and get stomped on. That's fine. I just want to be in the show. And so I was, I, I don't have a word is
Yeah.
what I was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could just go on and talk about it forever. It's still unbelievable to me.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that, and I totally understand, being so grateful that you can't put it into words. I think that that's
Uh-uh.
yeah, I think that that's incredible. And so you were a fan of the series
Yes.
before you
Yes.
auditioned. Did you read the
Yes.
manga as well?
No. So a friend of mine reached out, and my friend, by the way, Brett Weaver, who plays Gunther, who I don't think he even makes it past episode 22, to be honest with you, which we joke about all the time. He's one of my best friends. We've been friends forever. We started at ADV Films together, actually. Well, not together. We didn't know each other, but that's how we met because we were both in a lot of shows together. So we would see each other in passing and we became friends. And that's a 20 plus year friendship right there. But anyway, my friend Brett contacted me and he's like, "Hey, my wife and I, EK Weaver, who's a famous comic book artist and another good friend of mine, she's amazing. He said, we watched this show that just came out called Attack on Titan. You heard of it?" And I'm like, and I have heard of it. Just, being a voice person, I had, I'd seen the buzz about this show. It had only like, I think only like 2 or 3 episodes had been out. And he's like, "Yeah, we watch it on," I forget when. He's like, "Come over." So, I was like, "Oh, I can do that." I came over and and I was like, well, "This is good. Like, what is this?" And so it was a thing. We watched
Mhm.
season one together. I wasn't reading the manga, but I kept watching the show. And then I was like, is this going to be dubbed? And he's like, "I don't know." And I was like, well, we need to find out because holy frick, like this is uh this is an amazing show. And so that, we figured that out and obviously got auditions. And like I said, he's Gunther and um but I loved it. I loved the show. And then when we recorded it and then season two came out, um I still kept watching the show, and what I would do is like a little tradition. I think it was on Sunday mornings. I would go to the gym and I would put I would put my phone onto at the time it was the Funimation app, and I would sorry, all my lights just died, so we're gonna just do a little, there we go, magic.
Woohoo!
I've got tons of magic. Um and I would watch season two, which was just days before my recording session, because I was like, what is Hanji gonna do? Because it was we at that point we were doing a simul dub, and I could watch the episode, kind of get my line count, and then I would go into this, and I would know what was going on. And then when season three hit, I stopped watching it because I wanted to go in cold, and I
Hmm.
didn't want to know. I didn't want to know what was happening. I've gone so far off the question you asked me that I don't even remember what you asked me.
That is okay. That's what I love about these is we can just talk, and whatever comes to your mind and your heart, like that's what we want,
Yeah.
people to hear, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're making an indie film here, you know? We're
Yeah,
making, this is my
exactly.
studio, by the way. This is my studio.
Love it.
I got lots of little friends down here.
Amazing.
My little tea
Oh,
turtle.
so cute.
Yes, yes. And then, I got my French fries and little hot dog and crap.
Yes.
And
Amazing.
I have a little Minchie down here.
Amazing.
Um,
This
yes.
is
So this is
an exclusive Anime
this is
Fire look at
yes,
at the
at
different
the inner.
voiceover booths.
That's right.
People probably record these from their setups just so we can get good
Yeah.
sound. I mean, I'm not on my microphone. I'm hooked into my.
Whatever, but I'm at
Yeah.
least in a soundproof,
Right.
chihuahua free at the moment area. So
Right. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, amazing.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
I love the traditions that you did with your character and looking at, lines and then going in cold. And so speaking of going in cold, what was it like recording Hanji's last lines after 10 years?
Okay, can we talk about that?
Yes.
So, like the internet does, I was spoiled on that the day, not even the day that the manga came out, but the day that the cheat pages came out, because that's the thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
this was years ago. This was like, honestly, this might have been like 2017.
Wow.
Someone came up to my table. No, that's not true. Well, someone did come up to my table and spoil it as well. But uh on good old Twitter, X, whatever it's called, people just tagged me and told me, "Oh, by the way." So this was a very long time ago. I knew this was coming. Now, I did manage to stay away from how it happened.
Okay.
I did somehow, I don't know how, but I was able to actually stay away from how it happened. And
Mhm.
I always at conventions this question would come up, because people for the most part try to be real cool about, it's just a few trolls, right? People for the most part try to be cool, and they don't blatantly, do spoilers. Um but so I would say, like, I would say, all right, I know big things are coming for Hanji, and there would be this collective like, because
Yeah.
we knew this was coming. But I,
Right.
but I go, but I don't know how it happens, and this is immortalized. Like it's in countless videos or whatever that I've
Mhm.
been in, and interviews, and I said what I care about is Hanji has a valiant, noble demise. I don't know what happens. I don't want to know what happens.
Mhm.
But it's got to be something super noble, because it's Hanji.
Right.
So that's what I care about. I don't know
Mhm.
anything. And people would be like, okay, okay. So when the day came, of course, I'm online. I saw some fire happening. I was like, well, that'd be kind of like, what's that? But I didn't really, really know until I was in that booth. And I actually had a lot, I'm going to get emotional.
That's okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with it because, hold on.
Oh,
This is
no.
my lighting for today. This
I
is
love the
my
lighting.
amazing lighting.
Amazing.
Um, yeah, I had a lot of trouble with it because it's a decade.
Mhm.
It's a decade long, not just, oh, I've been Hanji for a decade. It's a decade long story
Mhm.
that I became invested in from the beginning. But like I said, I didn't know who had the dub. I was just like, I want to be a part of this story. This is an
Mhm.
amazing show. And so uh the day came, and I had trouble. I actually had to leave this booth for about 10 minutes because I kept crying.
Hmm.
And Mike McFarlane, the director, was very, very patient and super considerate. And he's like, whatever you need to do, it's good, we're good. And there were a couple lines where I was like, Titans really are marvelous, aren't they? And he's like, well, we can't use that one. Gonna need to cry a little bit less. He didn't say
Right.
that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he's like, being the kind director, he'd be like, we need less crying, more acting.
Right.
He didn't say that. He
No, that's
obviously
yeah.
didn't say
Yeah.
that. But yes, less crying, more acting, because I really honestly had trouble with it, and it was also, it goes on for like 6 years. I mean, it's like, okay, already, like, good, let them go. Vocally taxing,
Hmm.
just to make sure that those very painful exertions were appropriately thrown out there, and also it's the last time, so you got to give it your all. Not that there's times when you don't give it your all, but like,
Right.
the stakes, right? So I felt it for a couple days, and it was tough. It was a very melancholy time. Yeah, it's hard to say goodbye to a project like this. It's
Hmm.
really tough. It's really tough.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And yeah, and sensing that emotion for sure. And the fans felt it, in the acting, and like it's it's, you know, great that you were able to kind of steer clear of the how, because I know like as fans, it's a bummer when we get stuff spoiled, but I'm sure it's even more so when you guys see, oh, cool, this is how my character goes out. Like, great,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I will forever be impressed that Bryce Papenbrook was able to stay spoiler free for the
uh,
entirety of his run. Like it's
are you serious?
yeah, yeah. I have heard
I
him
have to
say,
ask him about that. Did not. How in the I did keep it spoiler for. I still don't know the ending, and I don't want to know,
"Oh, that's
because
right." Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch
Mhm.
season 3, 4.
Mhm.
How many seasons are there now? 5? Oh my God, I don't even know.
Well, cuz
I don't even know.
the final season is
Yeah.
split up into parts, right, with different
Yeah.
chapters. So,
But I
yeah.
think everything's out now.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, everything's done. I don't know the ending. So I've managed to keep that spoiler free. The internet loves spoilers, but they really love spoiling the character, the person, the like I said, when the cheat pages came out, I was
Mhm.
tagged, I was sent images, and I couldn't not
Oh,
see it.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I've been able to stay away from the actual ending. And will that stay? I don't know. I'm not as like, yeah, spoilers, because it's
Right.
done.
Right.
But yeah, hilariously, like, I don't care about spoilers, and now I'm not getting them, and I don't
Right.
even know the ending of the show that I've done for 10 years. But yeah, so that's amazing that Bryce has stayed away from that. That's crazy.
It's it's very impressive.
That's very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, you have actually cosplayed Hanji before, right? And as a cosplayer myself, I love it when the voice actors share their love for their character in this way.
Uh-huh.
I think it's
Uh-huh.
absolutely incredible. Was cosplaying something that you wanted to do before Hanji, or did Hanji inspire that?
So I've always loved dress up, which
Hmm.
cosplay is an art form. So I would never refer to cosplay as dress up. I would be offended if I were a professional cosplayer and someone was like, I like playing dress up. Cosplay is far more than that. Uh, but I will say, for me, I've always loved uh doing that. I've cosplayed just, I think, one other character. I did a Natsuno from Dog and Scissors at uh oh gosh, ATX. There's an anime convention in Round Rock, anime CTX. It was a while back. And I got the red contacts and the scissors, and it was super fun. I love it. And I felt like aside from my short ass height, I was like, that's the only thing, man. I can't pull that off. I can't pull off. If I were, because Hanji's what, 5'8"? I can't remember how tall Hanji is.
Yeah, they're tall.
Hanji's tall. Yeah, they're tall. And I was like, gosh, if I only had, I'm such a shoo-in, except for the fact that I'm barely 5'4".
That's
Man,
okay.
shake my tiny fist at the sky. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I certainly enjoyed, I did it for years. Well, and I also cosplayed the female Titan one time. Lauren Landa and I, of course, we have a rivalry for her disgusting behavior in season one. Or was it season? Yeah, season one. She always likes to cause me trouble about that whole thing and the crap Annie pulled. So we did a panel together. It was called Annie versus Hanji, and I surprised her and showed up in a full female Titan, bodysuit.
Yeah.
And someone in the audience had a jacket and glasses, and so we threw the jacket and glasses and put Lauren's hair in a ponytail. So we had like a switched cosplay. The pictures are
Amazing.
adorable. They're somewhere floating around. Yeah, so I love doing stuff like that.
Mhm.
I probably, if I would have if I had more time with my life, I would be more into cosplay. But my goodness, like any art form, it's time and money and patience and all those kinds
Mhm.
of things. And I put that towards other things, but
Yeah.
I think cosplay is amazing and wonderful. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cosplay's a lot of fun, and you do not have to be canon height to cosplay the characters. As I am a shorty, I'm shorter than you are, but
No one is shorter than
I
me. Come
am.
on.
I'm 5'2". I'm short. I am little, and it's funny because I cosplay, Dazai from Bungo Stray Dogs, and he's like 6'2". Nanami Kento from Jujutsu Kaisen is also like 6 feet tall, but I am not.
I
So
love that. I love that. That's great.
yeah. So I love that you love, your character that much and would cosplay them. Would you ever cosplay them like while guesting at at a convention?
Oh, I did it all. I did it for years.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I would dress up. Yeah, no, I can't name all the conventions now. But no, I took that cosplay to England when I was a guest over there a couple times for some of those conventions. No, I've been interviewed like this kind of a thing at conventions. I would do it all day, and man, that headache that you get from that, because you got to wear that ponytail up high and it pulls.
Yeah.
Oh, it was rough. I'd have the worst headache at the end of the day. Worth it.
Right.
Worth it.
Yes.
Worth it. And and I would do the ODM straps. We didn't do the full gear with the side, whatever those contraptions are called.
Mhm.
But I would do the strappies, and like, can't tell you how many times I had to leave my own panel and go pee, and then it would take me like 10 minutes because I gotta like get all the strap.
Yeah.
I'm being appropriate here though. I'm just saying, like, that's
Right.
cosplay,
It's a lot.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, it's a lot, but worth it and fun. And I still bring the jacket with me to a lot of cons, and I'll just throw it on because I can't stay
Mhm.
away from it.
Of course.
But yeah, no, God, I started cosplaying Hanji probably 2015, and I
Mhm.
think the last con I wore Hanji to was just like, well, it was before COVID. So I did it for
Mhm.
2 or 3 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
so fun.
That's
So
really
fun.
cool. And speaking
Yeah.
of conventions, you will be attending Anime Las Vegas coming up here in March. We are so excited to have you. Um, and
Cool.
what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I've never been to Vegas,
Okay.
so that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a super, super big convention in a long time. So I think that's going to be fun. I love smaller conventions too. I like
Mhm.
smaller events as well. There's a different feel, but like big ones, it's like you really do get to meet so many people. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to Vegas. Like, I just never been. So this is quite an event for me. I am super excited.
Awesome. Very cool. We
Yeah,
can't wait.
yeah.
It's going to be a really fantastic event. And that is going to wrap up our little chat. Thank you
Awesome.
again so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll see you in Vegas.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like I talk too much. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't even apologize.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. And I am super looking forward to meeting you and everyone else. I'm super jazzed about um, uh, what we're talking about. Oh my God, my ADHD. I'm jazzed about everything and excited about it all. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
This was fun.
of course. You're welcome.